Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Talking NASCAR. I'm your host Andrew, and I just want to thank you guys for tuning in to episode 1. It means a lot to me being the first episode of this new show, and I'm very happy to be launching it here on Memorial Day. We're a day after the Coca Cola 600, and in my opinion, was one of the best races of the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season. So let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to be talking about on this show today. So I'm going to be talking about the top finishers, of course. I'm going to be talking about some key moments in the race. I'll give you an accurate timeline of this most impactful moments in the race. I'll talk about some drivers who I thought, in my opinion, had good speed, who had a bad day overall, who had a good day overall, but maybe didn't have the finish that reflected it. And I'll probably talk about the points and how many points each driver occurred or received in this race. I don't have a current live standing update. I'll probably look at that heading into the later part of the show. But let's start with the winner, I guess, at the end. Ross Chastain, driving the number 1 for Trackhouse Racing, pulls off the win over William Byron in the 24 car. Chastain, a hard charger at the end. He pitted a little bit later than William Byron and Denny Hamlin in stage 4, and that ended up giving him a slight tire advantage. And William Byron said that later on in the run he was getting more tight, and especially in that lap traffic, the dirty air started playing an effect on him, and eventually Ross Chastain was able to get his way back to him and pass William Byron for the lead. And Byron mounted a couple charges, but ultimately couldn't advance to a pass, so Ross Chastain ended up taking the win. It was a great race for Ross Chastain. Had to start at the rear at dead last position, 40th position on the grid, and he works his all the way up to first to win the race. That is absolutely unbelievable. He crashed in practice on Friday and had to go to a backup car. And his team, they were already starting to repair the primary car. And by the time at 10 p.m. at night on Saturday, they were already almost done finishing it. But then NASCAR officials had to come in and say they had to go to the backup car. And it took them another 4 hours and then got that backup car completed. So hats off to the one car and the one team. Ross Chastain, a great race. Smashed that watermelon on the start finish line. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Ross Chastain NASCAR wins, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Look that up on YouTube. Let's look at at the finishers. We're gonna start from last and move our way up to number 1. Finishing 40th was Jimmy Johnson. He was the first driver to be scored with the DNF. He wrecked out on lap 111. It was a 3-car incident with him and Cole Custer. Very tough result for Jimmy. I know he started in 17th, but overall looks like he didn't have the pace like his teammates did. I think it's also to be known that Jimmy Johnson hasn't raced in these cup cars, and he's got limited experience in these cup cars, and they're very hard to get used to. I mean, look at Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott; they're nowhere near where they used to be, and with this next gen car, it's so hard to get adjusted to. And I think Jimmy's just suffering from a lack of experience. He started 17th. He had a good qualifying lap, so I think Jimmy and all of Legacy Motor Club definitely had speed. It's just Jimmy, I think, lack of experience really is hurting him there. Zane Smith finished 39th. He wrecked out as well. He wrecked off turn 2. I'm looking at it here. That was on lap 238. Spun off turn 2. Just got really loose. Slid to the inside wall on the backstretch. Tough result for Zane. He was running inside the top 20 most of the night, and that's where he's been most of the season. So it's very tough for Zane Smith, and he said that you get the bad days, and I agree, so I guess this is just one of those bad days. Ryan Blaney credited with a 38th place finish. Very tough result for him. He was caught up in a crash on lap 246 when Daniel Suarez washed up the track, got tight into Chase Briscoe, and it was a 3 wide, and Chase Briscoe washed up into Blaney, put him in the wall, and this sent Briscoe back down into Suarez. That turned Suarez across the nose of Blaney. Ended up being a 2-car wreck. I think Briscoe continued on, and he finished in the top 3. So good result for Briscoe. Not so great for Blaney and Suarez. Kyle Larson is credited with a 37th place finish. Started on the front row, P2. Didn't look like he had pace all night. He led the first couple laps, but spun off of turn 4 after hitting the wall a couple laps earlier. That was on lap 42, and he got in the wall on lap 37. So definitely been a toe link, and he spent a lot of time on pit road throughout most of the race. In late stage 3, though, he was moving his way forward, and it looked like he could possibly get back up to the front, but ended up getting caught up in a crash. I believe that was out on lap 246. He was collected in that Daniel Suarez Brian Blaney caution as well. Excuse me if I am sniffling and my voice sounds a little weird. I am a little sick at the moment. Hopefully next week or in the next episode I won't sound so bad. Daniel Suarez credited with a 36th place finish. He was in that accident as well on lap 246. Bubba Wallace definitely didn't have the pace all night either, and he was also collected in a lap 308 crash that involved him, Carson Hocevar, Ty Gibbs, and Chris Buescher. Gibbs ended up continuing on with the race, and Hocevar blew up. Carson Hocevar finished in 34th. He had an engine expire coming off of turn 2. He was running inside the top 5 for most of the night. He looked like he could get his first win tonight, but the engine let go, running it a little bit too hard. And Steve Letarte in the broadcast booth made a great comment saying that this will probably happen to a guy like Carson Hocevar, just running with so much raw speed. He's going to have a couple engines go here and there. Let me see. Josh Bilicki in the number 66 for Garage 56. It says he retired due to a fuel pressure issue. He was on and off in pit road. It's a single car open team. Definitely the slowest car on the grid probably today. So shout out Josh Bilicki, Wisconsin native. Tough result for him, but overall he ran 343 laps. So it's tough luck for him and that team. Yeah, it sucks. They're a good group, and it just sucks for Josh Bilicki. Derek Kraus in the 44, another Wisconsin native, driving for NY Racing, finished 20 laps down. Yeah, definitely was probably the second slowest car on the grid. Not much to say. Him finished 32nd just because so many cars wrecked out. Austin Cindric started 14th and was running inside the top 15 early in stage 1. Hit the wall. I don't know exactly what lap, but I think it was in stage 2. Did some damage to the right rear toe link and really couldn't keep pace. Finished 31st, about 12 laps down. Justin Haley finished 5 laps down in 30th. Caught up in that crash with Daniel Suarez and Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney. He had good pace. I think he was running inside the top 20 for most of the night. Started 13th, so not bad for him. Alex Bowman got on the wall. I think it was during lap 98. He got on the wall and spun down the front straightaway, which ended stage 1 early. So he gets credited with a 29th place finish, 3 laps down. Tough luck for Alex Bowman. He's fallen off, man. He's got hasn't been as consistent in recent weeks. So definitely tough for Alex Bowman. Riley Herbst with a 28th place finish. Excuse me. He was also 3 laps down. He's a rookie and didn't really have much pace tonight. Him and Bubba Wallace didn't have much pace throughout the night. John Hunter Nemechek credited with a 27th place finish. He was running inside the top 5 for early part of the night, but as soon as that sun went down, got behind due to a bad pit stop and a couple bad pit stops, got mired back more in traffic, that dirty air. It was really hard to go forward throughout the night, especially early, so that's why he was able to stay up front. And I think once he got back, he couldn't go forward. But it's still overall a really good night for John Hunter Nemechek. He showed a lot of speed, so I'm really impressed with that. He started P6. How about that for Legacy Motor Club driver? He hit the wall as well. I think that was on lap 339. He fell to 26th. He ended up going down to 27th. Tyler Reddick in P26. Man, he had a good race going. Denny Hamlin pointed it out that Reddick and the 45 team need to get better. He had great pace throughout the night. Was running inside the top 5 and top 10 for most of the night, and then almost wrecks off turn two, right in front of William Byron. I don't know what lap that was on, but ended up having some huge damage, and he falls to 26. So tough result for Tyler Reddick. But overall, I think 2311 should be encouraged by the speed Tyler Reddick has, and overall, the amount of speed that Bubba Wallace has is very encouraging, at least from my standpoint. Cody Ware gets a 25th place finish. I mean, not much to say about Cody Ware. You have limited expectations for him. He finished 2 laps down. I'm not going to say too much about Cody Ware. 25th, though, not bad. Ty Gibbs finished 24th. Man, he started 7th, and that is so frustrating to see that Ty Gibbs can't rack up good finishes throughout the night. He just didn't have the pace, while his teammates Chase Briscoe and Christopher Velt battled back to finish inside the top 10. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that number 54 group. I guess having Tyler Allen as his crew chief maybe isn't the move for Ty Gibbs. Connor Zilic finishes P23. He ran all the laps, finished 2 laps down, but still, really good result for Connor Zilic. He was caught up in that crash with, I think it was Daniel. Oh, no, he was in the Alex Bowman spin, I think. Where is it? No, the Jimmy Johnson spin on lap 111. Sorry, guys, I have to keep looking over at my notes to find the accurate results. But Connor Zilic, I think that's a good finish for him. His first oval start in the Cup Series. He ran well in the Xfinity Series, and this was his first race back from a back injury at Talladega. So I'm encouraged by this. I'm going to have to address this later on. Is he Cup Series ready? Is he going to get put in the Cup Series over Daniel Suarez? I hope he's not, because I don't think he's quite ready, but I'll talk about that another time. Chris Buescher, P22. Man, he started P4. Man, just couldn't keep it up there. He just fell behind on a couple of restarts. Ended up couldn't really move his way forward like Ryan Preece and Brad Keselowski. Tough result for Chris Buescher. He's been consistent all year, and I guess now it's starting to crumble. I think next week, where are we heading? Heading to next week, Nashville. Heading to Nashville next week. I think he can get a good result at Nashville, and then Michigan. He's won at Michigan before, so a couple good tracks coming up for him, for Chris Buescher. Cole Custer, P21. Good day for that Haas Factory team. Haas Factory team. Would you say that, I guess? Cole Custer, P21. I'm not going to say too much. Recovered from that spin on lap 111 with Jimmy Johnson and Connor Zilic. So I'm not going to say too much about that. Austin Dillon was in the top 15 a little bit throughout the night, but finishes P20. Wasn't a good night, especially when Kyle Busch was able to rally back up. RCR didn't look particularly good tonight or last night. I don't know why I keep thinking the Coke 600 was tonight. I don't know why. Anyway, Austin Dillon, not a great result, but I mean, it's RCR in the year 2025. They got work to do. Ty Dillon, Austin's brother, finishes P19. He started 19th, finishes 19th. It was kind of like he kind of floated around the 25th to 20th area. So I'm not going to say too much. His teammate AJ Allmendinger ran great. So I'm not going to say too much about Ty Dillon. He ran all the laps. He didn't get involved with any crashes. So they need to drive. There are drivers like that, and I think that's a good thing. Todd Gillen finishes P18. I think that he probably was worse than most of the drivers that wrecked out tonight. And Todd Gillen, man, I don't know what's going on with him. He was so good last year. He started 34th tonight. Man, he's got to get something to go right this year. He hasn't had speed at all. I don't know what it is. I think that Front Row Motorsports has to look at a possible crew chief swap with him and Zane Smith, because I think Todd Gillen worked a lot better with Ryan Briganti last year. And Ryan Briganti, don't get me wrong, he's been working well with Zane Smith, but Chris Lawson, I don't think Chris Lawson is it right now, because I do think Todd Gillen he's not as fast as someone like Zane Smith. He doesn't have the raw speed like Zane Smith does, or Noah Gragson. And both those guys were running a lot better than Todd Gillen. And Todd Gillen's been very quiet this season. Front Row Motorsports has to possibly look at crew chief swaps, or maybe thinking about Todd Gilliland. I think you got to look at the crew chief first, and you're going to probably have to make a crew chief swap with him and Zane Smith, to be honest. I think that's the best move to get Todd Gilliland running closer to Zane Smith and Noah Gragson. I honestly think that Todd Gilliland, he's carrying the flagship car for Front Row Motorsports, and he's the worst running front row car. I mean, that's not good. And I know they have the whole thing with the lawsuit going on, But if Zane Smith can consistently run in the top 15, then you got to think that Todd Gilliland and Noah Gregson can be running in the top 20 at least, or in the top 30. And that's where Ben Gillen's been running top 30. But man, Noah Gregson's been really struggling this year too. Anyway, Joey Logano gets credited with a P17. Penske was just off all night. They didn't have very many Fords in the top 10. There's a couple Fords, but Ford overall did not look very good at the intermediates or at Charlotte tonight. Logano was definitely the worst running Penske car. Denny Hamlin finishes P16. He was in the fight for that win, but ended up not getting enough fuel in the car, had to pit late. Finishes P16. Definitely a good night for Denny Hamlin, just not the finish he expected. Kyle Busch finishes P15. Again, RCR at an intermediate track in the year 2025. It's just not great. Kyle Busch, though, he's able to rally from that. He did have a spin late at the end of stage 2, and he rallies back to a P15 finish. So Kyle Busch, he's making it work in that number 8 car. Just you're hoping a lot more from Kyle Busch. He's still in the playoff race, but he really needs to get some more consistent runs at Nashville this upcoming weekend. Shane Van Gisbergen in the 88, the rookie, finishes P14. How about that? It started 30th. The Kiwi moving up to P14. Very good signs from Shane Van Gisbergen. I definitely think that based on his speed, he probably could outrun Daniel Suarez and Bubba Wallace tonight. Maybe Austin Cindric and Justin Haley. I don't know. I think Alex Bowman, Nemechek, and Reddick, just out of the guys that wrecked. Shane Van Gisbergen was probably somewhere in the top 15 range, so I'm glad he finished it there. And that's a good race for Shane Van Gisbergen. There's a road course coming up in 2 races at Mexico City, so I'm really looking forward to see what Shane Van Gisbergen can do at Nashville next week. I really don't think Michigan's going to go well for him. But good night for Shane Van Gisbergen. Very positive sign. He's learning. It's going to take him a little bit. I don't expect him to win or be in contention for wins on ovals for at least two seasons. So I think this is a good step, though. Eric Jones for Legacy Motor Club finishes P13. Again, I think that he probably wasn't as good as a guy like Carson Hocevar or Alex Bowman or his teammate John Hunter Nemechek, but kind of floated in that mid-teens range. He came and went throughout the night. He did get some stage points, though, so I'm really happy to see Legacy Motor Club is making some moves, and it's good that they're developing a little bit more, and last year was utterly abysmal. It's good to see them making some improvements heading into this year. Josh Berry finishes P12. Best running Penske car. You can call him a Penske car, even though he drives for the Wood Brothers. They operate on that campus. Still a really good night for Josh Berry. Was running in the 20s most of the night, and late in the race, I think he pitted a little bit later than everyone, and ended up getting a 12th place finish. Really good. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., man. Wow, that Hayek Motorsports number 47 has been really consistent throughout the year. They've had some good finishes, and this weekend in 11th is pretty good for that team. And he was running throughout probably the top 25 most of the night. He did duck out of the top 20 at one point. So Ricky was pretty good tonight. He was very aggressive throughout the night. He almost spun Shane Van Gisbergen out, but was able to get a good save. Noah Gragson, P10. He had speed tonight. Wow. I know I just said that he has been struggling for pace all year. He's probably sitting like 30th in points. But what a race for Noah Gragson on Sunday. It was really good to see Noah Gragson getting a good run. He was the second Ford? No, he's the third Ford in the top 10. So good job for Noah Gragson. Get some stage points. Really good to see from him. Ryan Preece rallies, started P10, faded back at the beginning of the race, kind of got mired back in traffic, but rallied late in the race, and he ended up finishing at P9, started 28th, never mind, so he was kind of just back there for the whole night and rallied his way back. He was making a charge in late stage 3 and 4, so I guess when the sun went down, Ryan Preece picked it up. Christopher Bell, P8, started P10, he faded for like the first half of the race, but ended up getting back his rhythm, got stage points at the end of stage 3, and started stage 4, ended up getting up to P8. All Joe Gibbs Racing was really kind of off. Like, I mean, everyone, I say that. I guess everyone kind of had a lack of pace early in the race, but later in the race, Briscoe, Bell, and Hamlin all came alive late in the race. So Ty Gibbs has just got to figure it out, man. I don't know what's going on with him. Michael McDowell finishes P7 for Aspire Motorsports in the 71. Good finish. He was running in the top 15 pretty much all night. Not much to say. That Michael McDowell has just been so consistent on the ovals, and I'm really excited to see what he can do the rest of the year. Chase Elliott finishes 6th, just grinded out a good finish once again. Stage 1, he rallied all the way up to the mid-teens, eventually got in the top 10, and just stayed there for most of the night. So good run from Chase Elliott. I would like to see more race winning speed because he hasn't led a lot of laps. He led 2 laps, but that's because he was staying out long and trying to get some get a caution at the right time. So do want to see more speed from Chase Elliott, but it's still a good night for Chase Elliott, man. Brad Keselowski, 5th place. Let's go. Breaks that top 10 streak and gets a top 5. Look at that. Brad Keselowski, just race of attrition, long race. That's been the theme for most of these drivers I can see in the top 10. They just battled back late in the race, and it's good to see Brad Keselowski get a solid finish. Start 35th. Wow. Gains 30 positions. Good job, Brad Keselowski. He's going to need a lot more races like these to even have a chance to get in his way to the playoffs on points. So it's good to see Brad Keselowski with a good run. AJ Allmendinger in 4th place for Calling Racing. Wow. AJ had a phenomenal race, and I shouldn't be surprised because he's been good on the intermediates. There was like one intermediate that he didn't do good on. I think that was Kansas, and that's when his motor blew up. AJ had a great race. Calling overall had a solid race. I'm very happy to see AJ get a top 5. This is going to catapult him back into playoff point contention. So we'll see if he can get a provisional playoff spot on points. Chase Briscoe, the pole winner, faded early in the race, like I said, but rallied back to finish P3. Very good race for Chase Briscoe. Again, long race. A lot of these guys faded early or just weren't good to start, but when the sun went down halfway, they rallied back. And then 2nd place, William Byron. He led the most laps tonight. He got the most points. He swept the stages. Really good race from William Byron. It just sucks that he got caught in lap traffic and just couldn't quite hold off Ross Chastain, who gets the win in 1st place. From 40th to 1st, he gets the win. Outstanding run from Ross Chastain. Besides that, that's pretty much the top finishers. I've mentioned all the big stuff that happens, notable moments. So let's look at the stage points scored. William Byron had the most stage points scored. He scored 30th. He swept the stages, 30 points. Tyler Reddick with 24. Tyler Reddick had 24 stage points. Denny Hamlin had 22 stage points. Carson Hocevar had 15 stage points. AJ Allmendinger had 16 stage points. John Hunter Nemechek had 13 stage points. Ross Chastain had 10 stage points. Just looking around, Christopher Bell had 12 stage points. Noah Gragson had 5. So did Chris Buescher. Chase Elliott had 6 stage points. Eric Jones with 3. Chase Briscoe with 2. And Ryan Preece with 1 stage point. So those are all the drivers that scored stage points. Some drivers who had good days overall. Good finishes, I should say. Noah Gragson, I just mentioned him. Good finish for him. Had good speed throughout most of the night. And that's exactly what this team needs. I don't expect this team to get into the playoffs, but Noah Gragson, it's good to see that Front Row Motorsports team have a good, solid finish. Eric Jones, same story with him. I don't expect this team to make the playoffs. Legacy Motor Club. I expect that Eric Jones, if he can muster up some good finishes, he'll get a top 25 points finish by the end of the year. So I like what I'm seeing from Eric Jones after this race. Shane Van Gisbergen, best career oval finish. Not much to say there. It's good to see him have a solid oval race. AJ Allmendinger, P4 is outstanding for a Calling Racing Chevrolet. With how bad they've been these last couple weeks, it's really good to see AJ Allmendinger have a good finish. Josh Berry hasn't really done anything on the oval since Las Vegas and his win, so it's good to see him get a solid finish. I'm hoping that we can see more of this from Penske overall and Ford overall in the intermediates. Let's hope and pray that Penske can get some more finishes. And Brad Keselowski, first top 10 and top 5 of the season. It's huge for that team. Drivers who had bad days. Kyle Larson just couldn't get anything going after he got behind and got caught up in that crash on lap 246. It just sucks for him. Other drivers on lap 246, Ryan Blaney, that is just so tough for him. He has 5 DNFs on the year. Do not finish. Wow, that is unbelievable. He's had speed throughout this whole season and just getting super unlucky with these DNFs because some of these aren't his fault. And yeah, man, just feel bad for the guy. Just gotta feel bad for the guy. Austin Cindric was probably the best Penske car throughout the whole night, and that hitting the wall just put him behind. So it sucks for Austin Cindric, having to address all these rumors with his dad, the president Tim Cindric, getting fired by Penske. We'll see if this lights a fire under Austin Cindric's hood, because he does have that win in Talladega, but I'm interested to see what Austin Cindric will do going forward throughout the rest of this race. Alex Bowman, I think he had a good car all night. Just tough luck that he had that spin on lap 98. Just really sucks. Carson Osvar, with that engine failure, had a great speed all night. Really sucks for him. And Chris Buescher caught up in that same crash on lap 308. I think that he could have gone back to the front like Josh Berry did late in the race. Just sucks. And looking at some other notes from this race, the one thing that frustrates me about Charlotte Motor Speedway is how much you need track position and that clean air, because it was so hard to pass tonight. I meant Sunday night. It was so hard to pass at Charlotte, and track position was really all you needed. We did see some guys like Chase Briscoe make his way back to the front. It was just very hard to pass early, but once that the sun went down and the track cooled off, got some more grip. So I'm hoping that maybe some things will change with the race. Maybe I have to look at it a little bit closer and maybe evaluate how the racing goes with just all the track position, the dirty air. It's all right. And then lots of accidents off the quarter. The bumps at Charlotte Motor Speedway, that worn out surface is insane. I mean, we saw Zane Smith spin off turn 2. We saw Alex Bowman and Kyle Larson spin off turn 4. It was crazy. There's not much more to say. All right, so there you go. That is pretty much all the notes I have for the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Coke 600. First race I'm covering on this channel. I thought that race was good. So now to finish out this episode, I want to rate this race on a scale of 1% to 100%, kind of like a letter grade, So the race I thought was good after the sun went down. Lots of comers and goers. That's something that kind of throws me off every race. All the comers and goers, and lots of drivers kind of flip-flopping positions based on tire wear or pit strategy, or maybe just not having pace on the long run. It's interesting, and it's one of the things that always catches me off guard in NASCAR, and it's very something I have to get used to more, Plenty of carnage with the crashes, some good drivers getting taken out, throw some curveballs, and just seeing some guys who haven't had good seasons running up front or in the top 10 was very cool to see. And I thought the racing towards the end of the night was very good. Lap traffic played a role. We saw drivers getting side by side. The passing, like that Ross Chastain pass, was definitely very entertaining for me. So I'm going to give this race, the Coca Cola 600 of 2025, I'm going to give this race an 80%. I'm going to give it an 80%. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to think about it. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. If I said something in this episode that you guys were kind of confused on, or you don't know what I'm talking about, please put it in the comments. I'll try to answer it in the next episode, because I know not a lot of people are very familiar with NASCAR on this show. So if you have any questions about it, leave it in the comments below. Comments should be on for this episode. And I thank you guys so much for tuning in to the first episode of Talkin NASCAR. And I'll see you in the next episode, where we'll cover maybe some silly season news. Who knows what could happen. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.